Hey, I'm Anderson Cooper from AC360, and I'm going to be answering some questions from iReporters. So here goes.
You've been all over the world and seen dozens of tragedies. How do you maintain a positive outlook on the world despite this fact?
Even in the midst of horror and tragedy, you see really amazing things, and you meet people who are, rising above their circumstances and who are living lives with dignity and you know, trying to give respect to other people and trying to lead good and decent lives. Even when you're surrounded by terrible things and you see people doing horrible things to each other, you also see, goodness. Even in the midst of darkness, there's light, and those are the moments and those are the people that you kind of remember and you really hold on to. That's what gives you a sense of balance and doesn't make it seem like everything is always terrible.
The earliest memory that I remember seeing you too is your coverage of Katrina. And I just remember seeing you out in the rain, in the wind, and just getting blown away and just staying out there. Do you thrive on that type of assignment? Or would you rather be inside the studio?
Well, thanks a lot for the question. I love being out in the field. I love whether it's a big story, whether it's a disaster or a conflict or really any kind of story. Just being out in the field, being on the breaking wave of history, and seeing these extraordinary things happen all around, and to be able to be there and witness it for myself and talk to people who are witnessing it and going through it, and that's when I feel most useful, and when I feel that I'm in the right place and the right time.
I've noticed in every disaster you've covered and every heartwarming news story you've covered that there is always a stray dog that you find that needs a hug. And you seem to be the perfect person to give that dog a hug and scratch on the top of the head. Do you have a dog since you're on the road so often? And if so, what kind? Is he or she? And what is their name?
Yeah, a lot of stories I do, I end up at some point focusing on the plight of animals, whether it's, we did that in Japan or Katrina, in Sri Lanka after the tsunami, really kind of wherever I go. Because I do think that's, often in a disaster, when we're spending a lot of time there, that is part of the story. And you often see a lot of animals, stray animals running around. So I'm a big animal lover, particularly very much a dog person. I do have a dog. I have a dog named Molly. She's a Welsh Springer Spaniel. She's really sweet. She's like 7 years old. And yeah, I love dogs.
Hey Anderson, I'm a big fan of your show, and my question for you is, have you ever been given an embarrassing nickname? If so, what was it?
Have I ever been given an embarrassing nickname? In school, I guess people would call me Coop sometimes. My mom calls me Andy. When I was a kid, my mom didn't want me to have any nicknames. Like, she wanted, people call me Anderson. And but as an adult, suddenly she started calling me Andy. So, and a couple of my friends call me Andy. But I guess, when you're, Cooper rhymes with pooper. So there's, pooper scooper, that thing. Very original.
I always wondered if you ever been in a certain situation at a certain point in time where you're just like, wow, maybe journalism was really a bad career choice for me.
There have definitely been moments where I've kind of thought, maybe this isn't the best career move for me. That happened probably earlier on when I was all by myself overseas, and when I started, I had borrowed a camera, and a friend of mine had made a fake press pass for me, and I started going to wars by myself. And so I found myself in a lot of situations where I was in completely over my head and had done something really stupid or was in a very dangerous situation that I had needlessly put myself in. So thankfully those situations have lessened as I've become more experienced and have worked with really experienced crews. So no, I'm really lucky actually that I sort of feel like I really did find the thing that I love to do, and that doesn't feel like work to me. It feels like just an extension of who I am. I guess I'm lucky in kind of early on finding what I was really passionate about and finding a way to make that my career. Thanks for the question.